This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
I came across a post on Reddit where one user posted online and happened to mention it to our Jeremy in the office earlier on. And, well, wait till you hear his opinion on it in a second, because a post by a Reddit user has caused a lot of controversy and divided opinion. If you've ever posted a photo taken by a graveside, you are, now this isn't my view, this is what this guy is saying, you are attention-seeking and tasteless. According to Reddit user Annette, who posted this and opened up the whole debate on whether or not it is ever appropriate to post graveside pictures on social media. Now, we've all seen it on Facebook. Someone goes to the grave of a loved one or a family member who has passed, takes a pic standing by the grave and posts it on social media with a caption like, out visiting the grave, miss you so much, and so on. Now, here's what Annette wrote. I think this is really weird. Every year, several of my friends put a photo of their parents' grave up on Facebook and then tags themselves at the cemetery visiting my mum. I think it is attention-seeking. What do others think? Tacky and tasteless. Something about a grave, though, just doesn't sit right. Seems a little disrespectful in some way. Should be private and personal. The only reason I can think to put it up is for attention. Now, when I mentioned this to you earlier on, Jeremy, you said abso-effing-lutely.
Yeah, well, I saw the post as well, and I had to agree with what Annette was saying. But before I give my opinion on it, because my opinion isn't as important as your opinion, I'm talking about you, the listeners. So I want you to put yourself in this position, okay? I want you to text exactly how you feel. So when you're on social media, it's normally Facebook where this will happen. When you're on Facebook, okay, and you see one of your friends posting a photograph by a graveside, maybe it's their mother that passed away, their uncle, their grandparent, maybe it's their child even. When you see a friend of yours on Facebook posting a photograph of them beside a grave, or maybe they're not even in the photograph, maybe it's just a photograph of the grave. Miss you, ma'am. 5 years gone too soon, and it's a photograph of the grave. What do you think immediately? What's the first thing that gets into your head? The first thing that pops into your mind when you see a Facebook friend posting a photograph like that on Facebook? Or
maybe you're somebody who does it, and if you do, why? Okay, I know certain people that regularly, on the anniversary of the passing of their loved one, they will go and visit the grave, which a lot of people do, and that's fine, but take a selfie with that person's headstone and post it on social media.
Okay, so text or WhatsApp your opinion straight away. 0877 98 98 98. That's the text or WhatsApp number. 0877 98 98 98. What is the first thing that pops into your head when you go onto Facebook and you see that someone has posted a photograph by the graveside? Now, I agree with everything that Annette is saying in her message that she posted online. I think it's attention-seeking. I think it's highly disrespectful to do it. And
How is it disrespectful?
I would like, you have no right to post. And I'm going to give you a story from America, by the way, of a graveyard that has actually banned people taking photographs. But you have no right. Someone's gravestone is the most private thing ever.
Yeah, but what if that person is your nearest and dearest?
Let me speak for a second.
No, hang on. Your nearest and dearest that you miss desperately, and your only connection with that person now is visiting their grave.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
But you do.
It's something that's very private and should be kept to yourself. Here's the thing. If I passed away tomorrow, I would hate to think that my gravestone, my resting place, would be all over social media for likes and shares. There's a friend of mine who lives in America, Adrian. There is a cemetery I think it's in Washington State, where they have actually banned people from taking photographs.
I think that's ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous.
If I have a loved one that was near and dear to me and they've passed away, if I want to take a photograph of their grave, well, it's nobody else's business.
Well, I think it's disrespectful. I think it's time that cemeteries in Ireland, that graveyards in Ireland banned people from taking photographs at a cemetery. I don't know. It's not a night out. You're not having a night out in the right venue, Adrian. Okay, taking selfies. It's not a nightclub. It is a graveyard.
Okay, hang on. Different people grieve in different ways.
This isn't about grieving.
We all grieve in different ways.
No.
And if somebody wants to, because the most recent post I saw was somebody who took a selfie with the photograph of this dead person from their headstone, yeah?
That's not
took
what
a selfie in the graveyard and put it up. Still missing you, pal. Blah 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 blah.
That's not what social media is for.
Says who? Sorry, are you Mark Zuckerberg? Do you write the rules?
I'm not being disrespectful here, and pardon me if you think I'm being disrespectful. The dead aren't on Facebook. They cannot see your Facebook posts. I've lost two very close people to me in the last few years.
Yeah.
Not one post about it went up on Facebook. Grief is a personal thing.
Exactly. You just put your finger on it. Grief is a personal
and it should be
thing.
kept, yes.
But if you want to share your personal grief with others, who are you to tell people how to do it?
Okay, you're all going to be very shocked by the reaction that's coming in because it's the exact reaction that I expected. So what do you think? The first thing when you see a post on Facebook with someone standing beside a grave, and there's a lot of people listening who have done it, keep your grief to yourself. It doesn't belong on social media, and you have no right to take a photograph of that person's headstone. That's a very, very personal thing. It's quite morbid, actually, to put it up on social media.
Well, okay, how do you feel about people putting up posts about dead people on social media? I always remember my mother's anniversary on Facebook to keep her in the memories of everyone that knew her. Not everyone has the dates written down to remember. It's a thing I do to remind everyone that she once lived. Do you have a problem with that?
To a lesser extent. I still have a problem with it, but to a much lesser extent.
So,
text from Bobby here. If it gives them comfort, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Because, Bobby, this is about what is morally correct and what is tasteful, okay? And I personally don't find it tasteful. That's my opinion.
It's not as if they're invading your privacy.
What?
I genuinely don't get how, we all use social media for different things, for different reasons. You put up gym photographs, for God's sake. I find that distasteful. I find it so egotistical and pathetic, but I don't say it to you. You do your own thing.
I don't think we can compare grave photographs to gym photographs, to be honest with you.
It is. I find them equally distasteful. Niamh, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Niamh.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Niamh, you can relate to people who would put up posts like that.
No, it's not that I can relate to them, but I have no issue with it. I'd probably scroll on past. I feel a little bit of sympathy for them, and I'd scroll on past. To be honest, I've more to be doing with my time than judging people on how they grieve. If that is how, I'm lucky enough I can take photographs of my parents while they're alive. But
yes.
I don't know how I'd feel if the only connection I had to them was a gravestone. And personally, I don't believe that they're there anyway. I believe that, hopefully the spirit has gone somewhere else. And it's
but
Niamh,
you're getting this completely wrong. This is not about grief. Putting these photographs up is not about grief.
Hang on, you said a moment ago that the lady who texted in a second ago, who puts up a post about her mum every year to remember her passing.
But that's all for attention as well. It is all for attention.
Really?
But
that's a horrible thing to say because so many
you
people
can't
do
judge that. You can't say that.
How is reminding people that it's your mother's anniversary of her passing? How is that attention seeking?
Because each to their own need. Maybe I'm just a different person. I see death as a very personal thing. I think it's something. Yes, we should talk to friends and family about it, and we should grieve in whatever way we want. But you have to question the motives of people that put this stuff up on social media. And I'm specifically talking about a photograph showing a headstone is a very, very personal thing.
I've just gotten a message from somebody who says the most photographed grave in Ireland is Joe Dolan's grave in Walshestown in Mullingar.
I've never seen a photograph of it.
No, I haven't myself, but apparently people visit Joe Dolan's grave. Now, you could also visit Joe Dolan's statue in Mullingar and take a photograph if you're a big Joe Dolan fan. But anyway, so Niamh, you don't have a problem. It doesn't upset you. You just scroll on past if somebody has a graveyard pic on social media.
Yeah, I do. If you look at Jim Morrison's grave in Paris, people who don't even know him.
No, that's slightly different. No, that is slightly different.
How?
That's someone who's in the public eye. That's someone who's famous. You can understand. Now, I've never done it myself. You can understand why someone might do that. But this is... How can I say this anymore? It's a very personal thing. And I certainly, if I died tomorrow, Niamh, I would not want my most personal thing, my resting place and my headstone, I would not want it plastered all over social media.
She'd be dead anyway, so what would you know?
But I wouldn't want it.
What would you know?
I wouldn't want it.
So what, you'd put it in your will that nobody's to ever take a photograph of your
But
headstone?
my family aren't that type anyway. It's a certain type. My family aren't
it's a certain type now. It's a certain type.
But
what does that mean, for God's
I know
sake?
my family are not the type.
People grieve in different ways. You don't actually know.
Jesus.
Because, Jeremy, you're not dead.
How did people grieve before Facebook came along? My God, how did people grieve in the 80s and 90s?
Now they can share their grief with others.
Yeah.
Liz, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Liz.
Hiya.
Liz, you think these people are desperate. What do you mean by that?
I just think that I actually agree with Jeremy in a way. I don't think that graveyard selfies have anything to do with grief. I think it's looking for sympathy from the Facebook friends, and at the end of the day, is a sincere sympathy. Do you know what I mean? Sticking up a sad face.
So what? It's fishing for likes, is it?
Well, not even. Yeah, kind of. But as I said, it's like for fake sympathy. Do you met like when you see the comments, thinking of your home, and it's crap, really. Like,
well, then somebody just texted in.
As you said, before social media, how many people would have gone to a graveyard and taken a camera with them?
No, but the fact of the matter is, Liz, all of us are every minute of every day are walking around with a camera in our pocket now. We didn't used to be like that.
But there's an awful lot of us that leave that camera in our pocket when we go to a graveyard.
The last thing when I regularly,
you know what I mean, we don't take the camera.
Okay, but let me read this message.
I'm sorry, that's a fair point, Liz.
You wouldn't have brought a camera with you and to have a photo.
No, yeah, and taking a photo shoot. No, you wouldn't. Okay. Well, let me read this message. It's modern day grieving, for God's sake. Mind your own business. Funerals are being streamed online live for families who can't get back to Ireland. It is not your business, says Morris.
Well,
if it's not my business, why are they putting it all over my newsfeed?
Yeah. And I agree with you, Liz, and you bring up a very valid point,
I have
Liz.
extended family who do it, and I have to be, it irritates the life out of me. I know their anniversary. You know their anniversary.
Yep.
Think about them. Talk about them with the people who are remembering it, but don't force everybody else.
Liz, you're after bringing up you brought up a very valid point, Liz, and I regularly visit family and friends who have passed away in the graveyards, and the last thing on my mind when I'm standing at a loved one's grave, the last thing on my mind is the lighting correct to take a selfie with this? It's the last thing on my mind. And I was at the Blessings of the Grave last year, and I couldn't believe the amount of people standing around graves taking photographs.
Yeah, I've seen it myself.
There was actually a group, Adrian, in Shangana prison, yes, and they brought a tripod along. They brought a tripod along so they could stand the tripod in front of the graveyard. Now, come on. It's not a circus.
Okay, a cousin of mine is constantly putting pictures of her baby's grave with a picture of him and who's dead. I can't understand for the life of me why put it up. It is so wrong. What makes it worse now is my granddad passed away not so long ago and is in the grave beside the baby. So now I have to look at my granddad's grave on Facebook, which I know he wouldn't be happy about.
Here's the thing, if the person who's passed away, if it's their anniversary and they mean anything to you, you will remember them. You don't need Facebook to remember. Anybody that truly loves you, yeah, will remember the day you were born. You don't need notifications on Facebook to remind you of it.
Maybe let me read this message.
Hang on, Adrian, do you need a reminder on Facebook of when your wife's birthday is?
Not my wife, but everybody else, yeah. Maybe the attention seeking is part of the grieving. Maybe they need people to like or comment to help them in their grieving. To share with other people, we miss her too, or whatever.
Again, I don't know how my parents, when my parents died, when my grandparents died, I don't know how my parents were able to grieve without Facebook and Instagram.
Trevor, this actually led to a family dispute.
How are you, lads?
Good, Trevor. Go on, tell me your story.
Yeah, a year ago, actually this month, a year ago, my sister were all up the anniversary of my brother's death up the mountains. And when we went home, we realised that my sister had actually loaded a video to Facebook of us all up at the gravesite.
Oh, right, okay.
I rang her as calmly as I could, asked her to take it down, and she told me to get lost. I was her newsfeed, her Facebook account, she could do what she wanted with it, and I haven't spoken to her since.
So you haven't spoken?
I have no intention of speaking to her either.
And do you think she should have asked your permission, your sister, before putting this up?
I think she shouldn't have done it in the first place, Jeremy. I actually, normally I would have a hard time agreeing with you, but I couldn't agree with you more on this.
So permission or no permission, you just think it's totally inappropriate?
It's a no-go area, Adrian. No, you just don't do stuff like that. It's a private moment.
Okay, I was at a graveyard recently where during the burial at the cemetery, somebody had a phone out and they were streaming it live to friends and family in Australia.
Okay,
that's true.
that's slightly different. I don't have a problem with that.
Do you not?
But that's just
that would be slightly different, yeah. But no, like when you're like putting it up on your own newsfeed and then all your friends and all, and like that woman just said, home thinking of you. That's all it is. And as I've said, I've actually had my sister. I don't know if I used the word her Facebook whore and this early, but that's what she is. Suspicious for likes.
You
called her a Facebook whore for
and I haven't spoken to her since, lads, and I'm telling you now, I've no intention.
And what was
That's
the
a bit
video?
sad now, it has
Sorry,
to be said.
what was the video?
Sorry, the point I was making, we're all at the graveside for your brother's anniversary. Is that right?
Yeah, we were releasing balloons, and she basically videotaped. She
Videotaped the whole ceremony
on her phone. None of us were actually aware of it. She was doing it,
right?
And she put it up on Facebook. And when I got home that evening, my other sister rang me and told me all about it.
Okay, let me just read a couple of your messages. Nobody went into graveyards with cameras before social media. Only people that do it on my feed are young and immature. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Jeremy, but I am. I still find it hard to visit my dad's grave, and he's been dead 3 years. I think it's tacky and disgusting. It's all for likes and attention. And one more, he's being two-faced now, like saying the man in the public eye that is famous, it's okay to picture his grave, but not a private citizen.
Yeah, that's completely. If someone's famous, obviously there's going to be photographs taken of their grave. But as I said, the next time you're at your grandparents' or your parents' grave and you're taking a photograph, ask yourself this one question when you're taking. First of all, the camera should be the last thing on your mind. You should be saying a little prayer at the grave. But think about this as well. Would they, if they were still alive, would they want that photograph all over Facebook? You know the answer. It's no.
This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
98FM. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Weekdays from 10 a.m. on 98FM.